guys, welcome back to Rosie Coffee Table Interview with Rosie the Nanny. We are still with Daddy Kasyoka. So, we've learned how life was till starting from childhood until you went to US, you've become a businessman, a successful businessman for that matter. Now we want to know, were there some turning points in your journey of business?
Yes, major ones. I'm done with school now. I become a businessman, successful businessman. Okay. I left New Jersey, moved to New York. I was living in New York. And I had my business was 28th Street. Very successful. But who is the devil? He showed up. The devil is always lurking around you somewhere. So he showed up in OSAMA bin Laden.
Ooh.
September 11, 1993, the World Trade Center was bombed in New York by Osama bin Laden. And what happened is 2 aircraft flew into the building. It was the tallest building in New York. And there were twin buildings. There was A and B. So both of them were hit by aircraft, by terrorists directed by Osama bin Laden. And then I think that was the biggest terrorist attack in United States history. It was very sad. I even remember that day because I saw the aircraft coming to eat it. I saw it. And actually I have a lot of pictures about it somewhere in my albums. Anyway, so now New York became chaotic. Actually, the entire country and the US economy became very chaotic because now everything was, okay, where are they going to eat next? Where are they going to have another attack like this in the US? Because the US now was the enemy of whatever Osama bin Laden was thinking. So businesses collapsed in the US. Mine was not spared. And especially mine was very close to the World Trade Center where that happened. I was on 28th Street on the west side of New York City. And the World Trade Center was like, I would say, how many blocks? And blocks is like, driving there would be like less than 10 minutes. So all those businesses were at the epicenter or ground zero of that blast. So our business around there were closed because streets were closed and there was no pedestrian walking around there because they were doing the evacuation, and then after the evacuation of the building and retrieving the bodies which were there, now they started flattening the whole area to be rebuilt in the future. So there was a lot of activity going back and forth and a lot of dust. We breathed a lot of dust from those buildings, and I understand some of it was even poisonous because I don't know what chemicals were in some of those buildings and in that smoke. But anyway, we survived. But the business did not survive. I wound up shutting down my business, and now trying to figure out, okay, what am I going to do? And I just started not wanting to be in New York, and it was chaotic, right? But I think there's a point I want to introduce, which I did not introduce before that, and we'll come back to that. So when my business was doing good, there was this young lady called Sophie Mukua in North Carolina who had been told that she's an entrepreneur too. She was in business in North Carolina. She was doing quite well in North Carolina, but she wanted to expand. So she was told about me, and she decided, not me as anything else, but as a business person. So she wanted to start that kind of business I was doing in North Carolina. She sent her brother and her cousin, Captain Nakuona. Yeah, they came to New York. They bought her some things. They took them to her to sell in North Carolina. And it became successful. She was doing quite well. She was doing festivals events in North Carolina, and she was doing quite well. And that's how I met her. Over time, I met her, and then I also decided, okay, I think I want to move out of New York, because now she started telling me how North Carolina is nice, and I'd traveled to North Carolina, but the thought of moving to North Carolina did not register with me at that time. So I said, well, your family lives in North Carolina, I can live in North Carolina. And now we started dating and eventually got married. And we have four kids. Anyway, we decided, okay, let's move to Florida.
Wow.
We moved to Florida. Florida is so beautiful.
The Bob killed people, but you found a wife.
Yeah, I found a wife.
Oh.
Yeah, the blessings can come in any kind of way. You
If
never know
one door is closed, another one is open.
opens. That's what the good book tells us, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so I found a wife and a family.
Wow.
Yeah. So we decided to move to Florida because I was determined to move out of New York. I found New York now becoming too threatening, too chaotic at that time. So I said, okay, if we succeeded here, we can succeed in Florida. I started my business, carried everything, put it in warehouses.
You had little left in the business.
I had quite enough merchandise. I trucked it. I got a truck and moved it to Florida, actually. And we went to Florida. I did not work in Florida. Florida was one of my toughest times after college, because we went there. Now we had one kid at that time, and we are paying rent, but the business is definitely not working. And that's how I realized that every business can grow. Businesses can grow in different parts of the world. There might be some people who like this over here, this part of the world, and they don't like it over here. So what happened is, they liked my business here in New York. They didn't like it in Florida. I was starving in Florida. So we decided, okay, this is not working. And we moved to North Carolina, where we live now, in North Carolina.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how many kids do you have?
I have 4 kids.
Wow.
One of them is in the U.S. Army. The other one is working in Atlanta. And my 2 girls are in college. They are graduating in 2026.
So what lesson have you learned through your journey?
What I've learned is, don't drop the ball. Don't drop it. Fix your eyes on that ball. Keep on fighting. Because now, after we came from Florida, we had to start again from zero. And we were able to build something which we have lived on successfully up to now. I'm still not employed. I'm still doing business. I'm still being able to take my kids to college, and I'm still able to eat and live quite a good life.
Now, I forgot to ask you a question that while you were working hard, the business was good and money was coming well. Did you appear to face like peer pressure, how you spend your money, savings and everything?
Well, I drank a lot.
Ooh.
I partied a lot. New York is the capital of entertainment.
Ooh.
You are young and you have a lot of money in your pocket. You're going to have a great time. Yeah, and I traveled a lot. So that part of my life before I got married, before family life, I did quite well. Yes, and I traveled to Kenya severally. And when I come to Kenya, I did well. I go to Diani, Masai Mara, name it. I've been there.
Wow.
And even in the US, name it, I've been there. In Europe, name it, I've been there.
So you enjoyed your youth while working?
I did, yes.
The money was good and you're enjoying.
Yes.
Partying.
Yep. Party after
party.
Party after party.
You party after party.
Yep.
That is nice.
Yeah.
I'm so happy that even though I'm sorry to feel the pain of people who lost their lives, but you still have a good memory that came with that, the specific situation of that bombing and everything.
Yeah.
You find a cool wife, their kids, good kids, and that is very nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, I feel so good. So to somebody who thinks that going to Europe countries is making it in life, what can you tell them?
First of all, I can say you are only going to make it if you're going to work hard. You're going to work so hard. Some of the times you're going to be so doubtful of what you are doing. Some of the times you're going to even regret why you made the decisions you made. But always remember that if you don't try it, you will never know. Do people fail in things? Yes. Can they fail in Kenya, your homeland? Yes.
Mhm.
Can fail in your village. But you have to venture out to also know what is out there. Do not listen to people. A lot of times people will tell you this and that, it will not work or whatever. In Kenya, they say, usiuziwe uoga.
Mhm.
Just go, and whatever is there, God would not let you, suffer if you are focused and if you believe in God and if you ample yourself, and then you also must be prepared for all kinds of challenges. And what is a bigger challenge than even being born? We were born to face challenges. When we were born, we didn't know what was going on. But over time, we become something. With the challenges we go, and we become who we become. But any opportunity will come from something from the unknown.
Mhm.
All right.
Yeah.
So yes, it gets in your head, is an idea, develop it, keep on pushing it until it becomes a reality. Some of the times it might not, but that does not mean then you cannot go on a second or a plan B. You can go back to plan B. This did not work, go to plan B. Same steps, focus. But if you are focused, you're going to make it.
And another question that is very nice. It is so uplifting.
Mm.
But to someone who is in the same situation, maybe he opened or she opened the business,
Yeah.
and it was doing well, and suddenly it collapsed.
Yeah.
What can you tell the person, because you have the experience?
Yeah. Okay. What I did is I had to change. You have to change a few things.
Mhm.
If a business is failing, the first thing you do is, okay, figure out what is happening.
Mhm.
Why is it failing? Is it in the right place? It might not be like mine. I took it to Florida and I realized very quickly that it took me a year to figure out I'm in the wrong place. But the idea is not bad. So some of the things you can do is, okay, if it's not working here, why don't I try it in that other city or that other city? Because it's a different demographic. It's a different set of people. So you take it there and try it. If you believe in it, because it comes from here, right? Try to figure out what is failing and fix it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What are your future goals and inspiration?
My future now is I've lived in the US for many years.
Mm-hmm.
And my future plans are to retire in Kenya.
Wow.
And I have built a home in Kenya. And I think in the next few years, I'll be settling in Kenya because my children, my last borns are getting out of the house in 2026. They're out of college. I don't expect them to live with me because they will not. They have told me as much. And then me and my wife, we have been discussing what next after raising children. And we are thinking of we will be living in Kenya, or maybe half and half, where in the cold months we can come to Kenya, and in the odd months we go back to the US, so that we can also see our children and grandchildren. We're hoping we'll get some grandchildren.
Wow.
And we need to go and spoil them at one point or another. Yeah.
So what motivates you and inspired you the most now?
I think what motivated me and what still motivates me is how good people are, how people can support you, how if you're not afraid of asking and telling people to hold your hand, how that pays off, what kind of friendships you form, knowledge, right? Those are the things which I think make you successful, listening to others and not being afraid of even failing. And when we are failing, not afraid of reaching out to somebody else who has succeeded, because they always have something to tell you.
Wow, nice. So to somebody who wants to go to the US and still she or he is afraid, because leaving home and going to another country, it is a really, really struggle, because you're going to start a new life, building new stuff. What can you tell them?
Going to the US right now is pretty hard. My time getting a visa was very easy at that time, right? Now, that has changed. It's very difficult. But they have the lottery system where I think the US accepts, I don't know whether it's 50,000 people from all over the world, and they give those visas through a lottery. That lottery works. I know so many people who are in the US because they went to the local cyber um, and put in their application, paid, I think, I don't know how much is paid to do so. And their data was in the State Department data. And in the lottery, they win. And when they win, they come with their families, their children, everybody related to them. They come to the US. That is one of the easiest ways to go to the US. The other way I know, which works, is a student visa, but it takes a lot of money because I know the embassy wants to see a lot of money. Unlike our time, it was not even a requirement. So the sure thing, or the easiest probably way, which is not easy, is just doing that application, and you don't need to go through an agency to do it for you, because an agency is somebody else who is trying to make an income from you. I understand it's a very simple form which you can do it online yourself and just submit it. If somebody comes and tells you they have a way and they know how it is done, and your odds of winning that green card lotto, they can make it better for you, tell them it's hogwash. It is not true. It is a lottery, and there is no way of influencing it, but it works.
Okay, very nice. Very, very nice. So what legacy would you hope to leave behind?
The legacy I want to leave behind is educating my children. I've tried through thick and thin to educate them, and they are still in school, and I still hope that will be one of the biggest achievements I've made, raising a family, taking them to school, and then being successful. And also, I would like to look back and say, I started from zero into something. And that if I can do that, everybody can. We can all do it. If I did it against all odds. Okay? And everybody against all odds can also do it. And I hope at one time somebody will look at me and say, I think he did okay. And I think he did okay because he believed, because I did not use any special tools to do the things I have done successfully.
Okay, that is very nice. So for anyone who is watching and would like to start a business and be successful as you, what can you tell them?
Go for it. Go for it. And a lot of people all the time, I've met a lot of people who say, okay, first I'm going to look for the capital because I have this much and I need to have this much, right, to start. And a lot of times you might wait forever to get that capital. So I encourage people to start with the capital you have and build the business from there, all right? Because also it's very easy to give up on a good dream because you come and realize that you are not getting where you are getting in savings. So let's start with what we have. I started with less than 20 pieces of items. Yeah.
So Dad Kasyoka, you mentioned that you and your wife, you would love to retire and settle back here in Kenya. Do you have any project to start or to do in Kenya?
Yes. Number one, when I'm retired, I want to travel in Africa. I have not traveled in Africa enough. I have been to Europe, I've been to Asia, I've even been to the Middle East. But Africa, I've only gone to basically Tanzania. I've been to Arusha and Moshi. That's about it. So I would like to one day especially go to the West African countries, the Francophone. They call Francophone, I think they call Francophone countries. Senegal, my daughter was in Senegal not too long ago, and she was telling me how beautiful it is. And I would like to go to Senegal, explore there, and then probably take a bus to different parts of West Africa, because I understand the transportation is not that crazy. And also the other thing is that, as you told your audience that I have a channel called Kasyoka Stories, I would like to also share those stories from different parts of the world. One of them being West Africa. I'll go to South Africa. I've never been there. I would like to go to Cape Town. And I would also like to put a little time in agriculture. I was raised in a coffee farm. And in this coffee farm, I grew up, I started liking agriculture. And I also know that we must feed the world. I must be fed, and somebody has to grow the food we eat. So some years back, because I was looking forward to retiring in Kenya, I bought a farm in Embu. Embu is in Kenya.
Mm.
And right now, actually, we are planting onions and vegetables and things like that. And pretty soon, I'm going to introduce animals like dairy cows and dairy goats, because I really, really love farming. I'm a farm boy, end of the day. I was born in a farm, raised in a farm, and then New York City, which is a jungle by itself. So, yeah, when I retire, I'm going to do a lot of farming. And my idea is just to grow food, to feed, to contribute in feeding the world. And that's going to be my next challenge.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very focused on it. And like I said, focus, 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 and you will make it. And I will make it in agriculture. I can assure you that. Yeah.
Sure thing.
Mhm.
Now you talked about Middle East. Which part of Middle East?
It's on transit. I've been Dubai.
Mm-hmm.
I have gone to Qatar.
Mm-hmm.
And I have alighted
Mm-hmm.
and stayed in hotels over there.
Wow.
Yes. I did not like the weather. It's too hot. It is extremely hot. And yeah, I'm not planning to go back.
So you had the worst experience.
I had it. The heat, I can't deal with that heat. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
That is very nice. Very
Yeah.
nice. And we just wish you all the best.
Yeah.
So me as a youth, I would love to know, what advice can you give the youth?
I think one of the things I did when I was young, I left my mother's house, because it is only that way you are going to learn how to be yourself, to take care of yourself. Earlier, I told you that after college, I worked at Sharia House. I could have comfortably lived with my parents. They had a home in Nairobi. We are in Buruburu Estate.
Mm-hmm.
I could have lived there, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I moved to Kibera. Yeah, that Kibera. I lived there.
Wow.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I moved there with a friend of mine and my cousin, 2 cousins and a friend.
Mm-hmm.
We were sharing one small room, 4 of us. And the reason I wanted to do that is to just break away and start thinking for myself and start being on my feet by myself. So I encourage young people to live, if possible. Go out there, and that's how you learn how to be independent, how to start from somewhere, how to be able to start thinking and dreaming, because your dreams are valid. And some of the times when you are around your mother and your father, you don't have to dream.
Yeah.
There is food, there is accommodation, you don't pay for the electricity, you don't do anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think you can run at a safe distance where, should anything not work, you can always come back home. But
Mm-hmm.
just go there where you can afford it. Unfortunately, some of the youth in this country, I see them trying to act like they've made it before they've even started. Stay away from that, big time clubbing, big time alcohol, big time everything. Just go somewhere where you can comfortably afford. You can't afford to live in Westlands, maybe. You can't afford to live in Kilimani. You can't afford to live in a whole lot of places, because that cannot be your start point.
Mm-hmm.
Go and start where it is comfortable and get a roommate. Start from there. If things don't work, you can always come back to mom, right? But go there focusing on, I want to make it on my own, and I'm going to start from ground zero and build it from there.
So guys, there you go. I hope you like the story from Kasyoka Stories. And by the way, my dad here has a channel called Kasyoka Stories. Please subscribe to his YouTube channel and get to learn more about from him. So thank you guys. Thank you for watching. For anyone who wants to talk about stories, because me, I believe stories can inspire someone. Maybe someone is going through what you went through your story, he or she will get to learn something. I hope you've learned. Till next time, bye bye.